What's up, Supreme Team, and welcome to the channel. Y'all, we got a lot to talk about. Carlos King woke up this morning with tire tracks on his three-piece suit, and it was all due to his good friend, Dr. Heavenly. Y'all, she threw Carlos up under the city bus without a helmet and without warning, and she told him, F your school clothes. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. And she said it was all because she does not want to be blamed for messing up people's marriages. Okay. And in her words, say what now? Because I don't know if y'all remember what Dr. Heavenly was doing before Messy Mondays right here on YouTube. But Dr. Heavenly had her own YouTube channel before she joined forces with Carlos King. And I want y'all, if you remember, to tell me what she was doing. Go ahead and put it in the chat for me, okay? In the meantime, also share this video, please and thank you. And hit the like button because that is how others find me right here on YouTube. I am DYANAROZAY, and I bring a unique commentary to your favorite reality TV shows and whatever is popping on social media. If you are not a subscriber, please become one. Hit that notification bell too, that way you don't miss any of my videos. I go by DYANAROZAY on all platforms, and I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. Okay, so I asked y'all a question before the intro. I said, what was Dr. Heavenly doing on YouTube prior to joining forces with Carlos King and Messy Mondays? And if you guys said she was using her YouTube channel to talk about people's marriages, her castmates' marriages in particular, you are right, okay? Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. Dr. Heavenly used to talk about her castmates so bad, child, that people on the show, on and off the show, I think even the producers, I know Andy Cohen used to say, Dr. Heavenly, you got to do something about that YouTube channel. Okay. When she would come on Carlos King's page, though, she said that she believed her page was hyping up the show, that she wasn't going to do anything about it, that she wasn't going to stop doing it because it was no different than what Candy Burris was doing for RHOA. And she also said that the producers didn't tell her to stop doing it. Like, she was very adamant, I'm never going to stop. And then last year, I think late last year, around November sometime, she did stop. Okay. She did stop. She said, I'm not going to do it on my channel anymore, on my YouTube channel, but I do. And she blamed it on her husband, though. She said, my husband asked me to stop talking about the marriages, so I will do it for him. Now, I'm not sure if it was just for him. I think that the producers did get involved, if you want to be honest, but she said it was her husband. That's just my opinion, that that the producers may have gotten involved. But she said it was her husband. And she said she had a workaround because she was still that hell-bent on talking about people's marriages. She said, y'all can join me on Patreon to do it because I told my husband I wouldn't do it on YouTube. And then she said, I'm going to come back over to Carlos King's page and do it because I enjoy doing it. I'm just not going to do it on my own channel because of the promise that she made to her husband. So let's start with that. That's number one. Now let's talk about number two. Do y'all know how they started reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville on Carlos King's page? Because Dr. Heavenly insisted on reviewing it. Okay. Carlos wasn't reviewing that show. It had been on the air for 7 years, and everybody who is a part of the YouTube, okay, community know that Carlos was not reviewing that show. Dr. Heavenly for months was saying, we need to talk about why Martell went to jail. We need to talk about Melody. We need to talk about this, that, and the other. She insisted on talking about it. So her saying right now that she's not doing it because she does, and she was messy with it too. She wasn't as messy in reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville, though. I'm going to say that. They were actually more messy talking about Married to Medicine and other shows than they were about Love and Marriage Huntsville. But the Married to Medicine audience, the people that watch that show, is a lot different from the people who watch Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I think that's true. I also think that Married to Medicine does a lot more like low down stuff. They ambush people a lot on that show. And I mean the true definition of an ambush too. Okay, let me put that up just in case somebody start getting in the chat talking about, no, that's not true, Dyana. It is true. Okay, y'all, I had to pause it so I can bring it back. Ambush is a trap in which one or more concealed attackers lie in wait to attack by surprise. So that means that the victim is aware that they are being surprised by their attackers. There's things that happen on Love and Marriage Huntsville where they weren't in the same room with the victim, or if they were in the same room with the victim was unaware of what that person was doing there, or, they just had no clue. So it wasn't considered a true ambush, like some of the things that went on with Married to Medicine. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this one first. Everybody remembers Dr. Contessa and Dr. Heavenly. In fact, when Dr. Contessa left the show, I think it was her last season, she chased Dr. Heavenly through the reunion halls, like she was trying to get at Dr. Heavenly so that she could, break her foot off. Okay. Dr. Heavenly ended up hiding behind Andy Cohen and saying, y'all don't pay me for this. Like, what is going on here? And someone had to walk Dr. Contessa away. But Dr. Contessa was confiding in Dr. Heavenly, telling her about things that were going on in her marriage. Dr. Heavenly suggested that Dr. Contessa was experiencing some DV in her marriage. She said it on her YouTube page. She told Jackie about it, and she even told it on the show. And Dr. Contessa was mad, fire engine truck, red mad, and she had physically threatened Dr. Heavenly. So that is definitely getting in the middle of people's marriages and making things messy. Okay. It didn't stop there though. She's hit everybody. She's absolutely hit everybody. Dr. Simone, y'all remember Dr. Simone and Dr. Heavenly fell out for, I don't know, 3-4 seasons, maybe more, because Dr. Simone thought she was talking to a real friend, telling her things about her husband. Cecil had lost his job. I guess he may have been drinking bad, allegedly, according to Dr. Heavenly. And Dr. Heavenly went on her page and was like, you better get a real job, be a real man, stop drinking. She told all of Simone's business. And they had an intervention for Dr. Heavenly in her YouTube page on the show. That's how bad things got, y'all. Who else was Dr. Heavenly into it with about her marriage? Everybody knows Mariah and Heavenly could not stand each other for various reasons, but these two would go toe to toe about each other's husband. Dr. Heavenly said that Mariah's husband probably had a small wee-wee because of his ethnic background. And Mariah told Dr. Heavenly that she knows what Damon likes and it's not her. And then she said she had receipts. We all remember that line, child. You want me to show you the receipts, baby girl? Because I got the receipts. Well, Mariah brought that up just recently, if not just a few months ago, and said she still had the receipts. So she was still threatening to drop them just a couple of months ago. And we didn't hear Dr. Heavenly ease up off the pressure then. Who else? Who else did Dr. Heavenly go after? Child, the infamous Lisa Nicole. And Lisa Nicole was ambushed on Married to Medicine. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. But she was married to Dr. Darren. Dr. Darren had a reputation, okay, for being in them streets. They talked about it on the show. He was in the strip club. When he would walk into that strip club, they had an episode where he walked into the strip club and them ladies on the stage knew that man by his first name. Okay. They all was like, Darren, oh my God, it's Darren, it's Dr. D. That was hilarious. But Dr. Heavenly did not let up off of Lisa Nicole's neck. Okay. And then y'all remember the ambush between Quad and Lisa Nicole. They had the show had some sort of, I think it was a charity event. And so the cast was there and then members of the community was there. Quad brought on a gay man to say that he knew Lisa Nicole's husband up close and personal. That was horrible. That was horrible. And they aired it. They aired that episode. It was bad, child. But I'm just telling y'all what happened. That was the ambush. Who else did Dr. Heavenly get into it with? If y'all remember stuff, put it in the chat too, child. I'm just giving y'all what I remember. Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly got into it on the show about Dr. G and online about Dr. G. Personally, I think that that may have been the reason why the producers told Dr. Heavenly to kind of ease up off the pressure, okay? Because they said something about having to bring a psychiatrist on and some other stuff, and Dr. Heavenly was hinting to that. So y'all remember this. And then that's how a lot of the crossover audience from Love and Marriage Huntsville, some of the crossover audience that probably doesn't like Love and Marriage Huntsville that much, or excuse me, some of the crossover audience from Love and Marriage Huntsville that don't like Married to Medicine that much, they kind of went over there. And I think that the producers or the network did not want that smoke. So that was one. Who else? This is ongoing even today. Toya and Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly constantly telling Toya to get a job, to stop talking about Eugene, what y'all got going on in your bedroom life. Stop dogging Eugene before somebody slide into them DMs and take over where you can't, where you never started, basically. She's like, Eugene loves Toya's dirty draws, but a lot of men would not take what Toya does to Eugene. I'm just bringing up what's already out there. Don't shoot the messenger, child. This was already stuff that's out there. Who else? Quad and Dr. Heavenly would get into it all the time, and they still do. They go back and forth between falling out and being friends. But when Quad was married to Dr. G, before all that other information came out about their relationship and possible DV, Dr. Heavenly used to, get on Quad, talking about, you need to be having this man's baby. He wants a child, Quad. You're not doing what you're supposed to do as a wife. Quad used to hate that. She used to hate that. And then later, when they, talked about other things in the marriage, things that Dr. G actually confirmed, he did say that on stage, she changed her tune. But a whole lot had to happen, right? And then let's not forget Quad ambushing Sweet Tea's bridal shower. It was an ambush. Sweet Tea was not expecting her. She knew that was Dr. G's wife. She had to ask her to leave after everything was all said and done. She said, do you mind leaving? This party is not for you. So that was a total and legit ambush. Y'all write other ambushes in the comment section right now. On Real Housewives of Miami, y'all remember Alexa? She was married to a man who was gay. They were at some sort of party. There was a whole bunch of cast there, a whole bunch of community people there. And this gay man, who everybody could tell was gay, walks over to her husband, kneels down on his knees and bows his head and said, do you remember me now? If that wasn't dirty dog dirty, I don't know what was. That was an ambush. And Alexa, she laughed about it. And to this day, she said she didn't know what it was. But everybody, the audience knew. Who else? The cast knew. They had their mouths literally dropped. Their jaws dropped when that happened. They were like, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. That was a intense scene. What else was an ambush? Kenya. Y'all remember Kenya brought the cookie lady on RHOA. She ambushed Tanya Sams. She said that the cookie lady was saying that Tanya's fiance, Paul Judge, was flirting with her and trying to date her. And Kenya Moore brought her on to confront Tanya, or to tell her about it. And that was a big scene because I remember Eva Marcel got up and walked out the scene. She said, I'm not doing this. And she got her stuff and left, and producers made her come back into the scene and film. So I remember that. And she ended up, being cool, but that was a bad thing to do for Tanya, because Tanya was so emotional about her fiance. Candy also helped with an ambush one time. Candy had a random guest come to a party, right? Remember, Demetria McKinney was on there. She had a random guest come onto the party and say that she had been with Roger Bob at the same time. Demetria's, she was a little loopy for Roger Bob, child. She was a lot loopy for Roger Bob, but they were getting a party started. So that happened. And if y'all remember anything else, tell me in the comments. I know a lot of people are going to say Carson Blue, but I don't consider Carson Blue a true ambush because Mel said with her own mouth, I didn't know anything about Carson Blue. So when she was sitting there filming, nobody brought up anything that we know now, and Mel didn't know about it. So that was, I don't consider that a true ambush because there was no other scenes done about it. They never talked about it. We'll see if it comes up at this girls' trip, but it didn't come up at the actual event, that tea party event. Basement Billy came onto the show, but he only filmed with his brothers. He filmed with Marceau and Maurice, and they talked about Vanessa, but they didn't have any scenes with him and Vanessa. They didn't bring him into any space Vanessa was in. And I remember even when they asked Mel in confessional, she shut it down. She said, I'm not talking about him. Next question. Okay, so at the end of the day, I don't consider that a true ambush. I think that they brought them on and fans weren't expecting it. But if you weren't like I said, if you weren't a part of the YouTube community, if you watched that show, you just went with the flow because it didn't connect to anything else. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, you guys, that's all I wanted to say is that Heavenly has a long history of going after people's marriages. So it's really funny that she said Love and Marriage Huntsville is where she chooses to draw the line. And I'm kind of curious if maybe the fan base had, she got a lot of pushback. I'm kind of curious if that was the case. And so now she's saying that. But y'all talk to me in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all tell me other shows where you saw a true ambush. Okay, here's the definition again. A true ambush where a trap was set for someone and then they came in and they surprised their victim with the attack, okay? Talk to me in the comments and let's move on to the next. So y'all, let's talk about Melody Cherie real fast and what's going on with the show. There is a scene that is coming up where Melody is about to unknowingly defend the Opps. And the Opp happens to be, in my opinion, Trish and Ken, because there's some things that happen in the scene that is unreal. Trish and Ken are talking about how they met, what year they first met, and there's a lot of people at the table. In fact, almost everybody at the table. Looks like at the dinner table. I don't know if they're at Kimmy's house or if they're someplace else, but there's a lot of people who are making faces at Trish and Ken like, this isn't true. Or, you know what I'm saying? Just like, you could tell that they're doubting their story. And Melody is literally the one defending them, basically trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. And she seems upset, just a little frustrated maybe, that everybody else is coming for him. But Trish and Ken is talking about how he slid into the DMs and they were talking back in 2016, but it was just, friendly conversation, no flirting or anything like that. And that he didn't actually see her until 2019. So he made it seem like there were years that went past before they actually physically saw each other. And when he saw her, he got nervous and went the other way. And she confirms it. And then Ken says something like, it was in like 2019 maybe. And Trish was like, or 2020, 21. That's a big gap in my opinion. I don't care because y'all said y'all have only like really kicked it for 4 years. Like y'all have been living together and all that stuff for 2 years. And prior to that, dating for 2 years. So those numbers are way off, sir. But anyway, he says that. And the reason why I say the numbers off, let me say this, is because Mel filed for divorce in 2019, right? And then we know that Trish and Martell may have this little situation going where Trish goes to Martell's house. Mel doesn't know this yet. This party is happening. This dinner party looks like it's happening before they go on the girls' trip. So that is a big deal. And why this conversation is being had, everybody is giving these faces like Nell and Chris Fletcher. Nell Fletcher is giving a good old you lying hussy face, okay? I've seen this face countless times before on a lot of church folks. Okay, when somebody is saying something that's not true, you get that smile like, you are lying, but you get a hussy. You are a lying hussy face, okay? Chris too, because from what we know now, Chris is the one who set Miss Trisha up with Martell. So he some kind of way connected those two together. So they're looking at her like, girl, bye, all right? Who else is making a face? Who else is making a face? Hold on. Let me get this picture up. Stormy and Courtney, the whole time Trisha's talking about these dates, Stormy is sitting there like, wait a minute. This is not what you told me. You can tell that she is conflicted about whatever Trisha is saying in this moment. It is not coming across for her as truthful. And her face is saying something isn't truthful, period. Okay? Courtney staying out of it. Even Kimmy and Fester, okay, have faces. Now, Fester's face always looks like this, but Kimmy's like, what is going on? There's something that's not truthful. These two are making it out. These two, being Ken and Trisha, are making it out like they didn't legitimately get together until Ken knew that Trisha was wholly separated, I guess. And y'all know how Kimmy has been dogged out for getting together with Fester before he was wholly divorced. She was like, we were friends, but we never got together. We never dated. But they're sitting here like, the smoke that we used to get, child, you just open up the door. Okay. And then we have Marceau and Tisha, because Marceau is going to call them out on their stuff. And he basically said, because he already had a conversation with Trisha's ex-husband, and Trisha's ex-husband said to Marceau, she was flirting with that man long before she and I separated or I moved out of the house. She used to call that man chocolate in those text messages that I saw. And then y'all remember the interview that Trisha's ex-husband, I think it's Marquez, did with Heavenly and Carlos King. He said that on the day Trisha went to Martell's house, he saw Melody on the court steps, like she was just coming out of the courthouse, filing for divorce then. So that is a lot. But Marceau basically says to Ken and Trisha, listen, he said, when I found out X, Y, or Z, or he said, if Trisha's ex-husband would have come back into the picture, I would have stopped talking to her. And Marceau says, listen, if it was nothing to be ashamed of or nothing to hide, you wouldn't have had to stop talking to her. It wouldn't have been a conversation in the DMs. It would have been out loud and in public. It wouldn't have been a big deal. But if you knew you had to stop, then something else was clearly going on. Now, this is where Melody really defends Trish and Ken. She gets in here and she says, just because you, Marceau, are out here or feel like you have to hoe with every woman you meet doesn't mean that they do. Okay. Mel basically said that's a you problem, Marceau. That doesn't have to be a Ken and Trish problem or anyone else. Women and men can have platonic relationships. You can't. So Melody is calling Marceau out on being a hoe in this clip. Okay. And they play it back for Tisha and Marceau in confessional. Tisha and Marceau said, listen, Melody was really going to bat for Ken, and the two of them having this alleged platonic relationship. And then Tisha tries to get her lick back with Mel, because it looks like this is the season of lick backs. And she said, listen, maybe Martell was right when he said that Melody was talking to a lot of men. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but they are playing this tit for tat game. We'll see what happens. They're playing a tit for tat game right now. And then y'all check it out. Jalen is going to make an appearance in this episode. So we'll get to see Jalen again for the first time in a while. Martell does not appear to be at the dinner. Destiny is not at the dinner. And Moses and Sunny are not at this dinner. So y'all talk to me in the comments and let me know what y'all think about everything. Hopefully y'all saw it, okay? But if you did not see this clip, you can find it in my Facebook page at DRRT or on my IG stories at DYANAROZAY, okay? I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. Make sure that y'all hit that like button, share the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.